Hi there. You're watching Pop Culture Warrior. This is the way.
Hi there. It's your second favorite DP right here, okay? No, that's Deadpool, you silly little Hufflepuff. Anyways, I'm gonna need you to shut up that pretty little mouth of yours and pay attention because the show's about to start, alright? And, I don't know about you, but I know who's my vote for sexiest ex-soldier turned pop culture show host. Alright, enough foreplay. Let's get on with the show.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody. Don't mind me. Just, just plugging things in that should be plugged in. All right. Hang on. Give me a second here. Bring it together. Okay, hang on a second. Maybe he's already here. So let me just get through that part. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, one and all. Today is February 27, 2024. This is episode 161 of Pop Culture Warriors, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I am CQ. I am your host. And of course, with me as always is the very famous, the chin heard round the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Marine with the mouth, the man in the bubble. Tonight he is Mad Mike. What's up, buddy?
Not much. Show working? Are we live or what?
So many things are not working the way they're supposed to. It's fine. It's fine.
One of these
It's
days
fine.
we'll be prepared. I don't know.
It's fine. I've
2
been
years
moving
now.
things. Okay. Full transparency. Couple things. All right. Let's just put shit out on the table. We're just gonna air out all the dirty laundry. One, for the last 2 weeks, at about the 2-hour mark, the show just decides we're done and turns itself off. Tried to figure out what the fuck was going on with that.
You just didn't pay your bill or
I-
whatever.
I've-
or you're just trying to
I've-
save money on electricity.
I reinstalled a bunch of stuff. I deleted a bunch of stuff. I made space. I did a bunch of things trying to make it work. We'll see. Two, I'm trying something new. You guys can't tell, but over on YouTube, on the Pop Culture Warriors specific page, we're live in vertical format. Exciting new things. No, this isn't why the last 2 episodes have been broken, because I just installed it this week. One of the reasons why that wasn't working. My teleprompter, I don't have enough plugs on the computer, so I had to plug something out and then plug something else in. And then we went live, and then I went, oh my God, my prompter. that's why I was reaching down to plug that back in. And yes, as mentioned by Angry Elf, there is a drum set in the background now. Because your boy is trying to better himself. I'm learning the drums. So one day, who knows, I'll do a drum session.
Like John
live.
C. Riley and Step Brothers.
That's pretty much. Don't
Right.
touch my
Come
drum kit.
over. I'm going to put my ball sack on it.
Don't touch my drum kit. Yes. Oh, and the other thing, my chats are not working. So no, I have a chat thing here so I can see it. Now it has to be over here because I had to go to like the emergency backup system. So if you see me looking over this way, it's because I'm trying to read the chats while also being live and managing the show. So,
Nothing works.
You
Just
know.
a typical show.
you know. So, hey, Angry Elf, Heath, Thomas, Valdez, what's up, man? Richard Bronco, Daniel, saying what's up from Fort Gordon, man. What's up to you? Who else we got out there?
Colorado. It's a nice little base. there.
Colorado. Got Corey Gray, who says he still can't see Mad Mike. He's not big enough. Listen. I've made him just about as big as I'm going to make him. I'll tell you what, if you jump over to YouTube, look for our page, he's half the screen now on YouTube. So, but as far as here, he's staying right there and he's not moving anymore. I refuse to give him any more real estate in this show.
Do what that guy tells you.
I refuse. It's
Give
no
the
more real
people
estate.
What they want.
And give the people what they want. Tonight, we have a very special guest joining us. As always, because I'm all about full transparency, it is a pre-recorded interview. You will know this because A, it'll be a lot brighter because it was during daytime and a lot of light was coming in through my windows. And B, you won't see that drum set there because this was filmed a couple days ago before I had the drum set up. So it'll be very obviously a pre-recorded segment. But John Orloff, who is the writer and executive producer of the new Apple Plus series, Masters of the Air, which I don't know if you've seen it. It's fucking brilliant. It is so good. You know, he wrote he wrote for Band of Brothers, he wrote for The Pacific. So if you like that stuff, this show's produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. So it's good. It's good. It took them like 10 years to make this show.
Yeah, they were shopping it around and nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah, it was crazy
Apple's
expensive.
like, we'll take money.
Yeah, it was crazy expensive to put it all together.
But he's a screenwriter.
There's
a book that was
correct.
That they based it off of too. Just
you're right. There's a
reason.
book, the novel, this is
he's
written
not the author of the
from
book. I guess is what I was getting.
The novel. Yes. He's written for TV by John Orloff. It's incredible.
A freaking great show. It's got Elvis in it.
It's got everything.
Some other people you'll know from other shows.
It's got everything.
The guy that did Elvis.
Everything. Yeah. He talks like Elvis too in the show, which is
he's
which is distracting. He's still in character as Elvis. It's very distracting.
My wife is like, he had a hard time losing the accent or whatever. He had to go to like speech therapy after that because he kept talking like it.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. First and foremost, what
have you been up to? You want to tell everyone what you've been doing?
what I've been doing? So this weekend, I want to see if this is working. I'm not even sure if it's working or not. So we'll see if it's working.
Just mess with shit. All right, bye everyone.
Just bye everybody.
Gave you a full 8 minutes. You're welcome.
No, actually, you know what? It's not actually streaming on YouTube. Hang on one second.
Is that the thing you unplugged to plug in the other thing?
I might have forgot to turn on the streaming in YouTube.
Buy this.
Listen,
man, a label maker.
Yes, buy me a label maker.
Whiteboard to do shit on.
I mean, better late than never, right?
We only come on like 25 minutes early to get all this shit knocked out.
I'm trying to think. Don't make fun of me. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working, but whatever. It's fine. So, this weekend.
So we're not vertical, not on the YouTubes.
God,
next week.
Damn it, not vertical. No, I don't think we are. I wanted it to work, but it is what it is. That's fine. That's fine. I'll get it working next week. This is what I get for dicking around with things before the show.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Yes, I'm trying to close all this. All right, there we go. Okay, so this weekend, myself, for those of you that know King from the Sports Bar, as well as some of you do know or don't know Nemo, who's kind of our off again, on again correspondent for here, and also the social media guru for WTF Nation Radio. We all drove over to Ohio, to North Canton, Ohio, because a good friend of the show, Eddie McClintock, who's been on and he's done a lot for me, actually, even outside of the show. Great guy. He is filming a movie he wrote and is directing called Takedown. And it's loosely based on his youth as a high school wrestler or high school wrestler. And so the film is kind of the story of how he grew up. It's not autobiographical because it's like modern day, right? And he grew up in like the 70s. But it's a lot more expensive to make a movie based in the 70s because, you gotta very expensive. You gotta get cars,
rent cars,
and clothing, and it's the whole thing. So it's set in modern times. There's cell phones and shit, but it's loosely based on his childhood. And so he's filming that movie, and I texted him. I said, "Hey man, would it be cool if me and the boys kind of come through? We'll shoot some background, behind the scenes content and a couple of other things." And he was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "If you want to be in the movie, just say the word and we'll put you in some scenes." So That's what we were doing this weekend. We drove up to Ohio. We filmed a couple scenes. I won't talk about the movie because, I want people to see it. But with his permission, I did shoot some behind the scenes content. And I want to share with you guys a little something that I put together. One second. Where's my control? There it is. So for Mike hasn't seen this either. So Mike, this is the first time you'll be seeing this as well as everybody else. I want to make sure you can see it. It's pretty cool. So basically what I did was I set up, because we were shooting in a high school gym or a middle school gym. And the idea is that, it's about wrestling, right? It's about high school wrestling. So all the scenes we shot, there's a couple in the hallways and things like that, but mainly we were shooting in the gymnasium. I set up a GoPro, and while I'm not allowed to, film what was happening, I did put it on time lapse to capture some images. We were there for probably 8 hours filming. So what you're going to see is 1 minute long. Not even, I think it's like 54 seconds long. And it is the majority of the 8 hours we were filming. Not even all of the 8 hours, but the majority of the 8 hours we were filming. And set to some music that Mike won't hear. But here you guys go. A little sneak peek behind the scenes filming Takedown with Eddie McClintock and Dean Cain. All right, we're back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that quick sneak peek look behind the scenes of Takedown.
Got a question.
Starring CQ and Eddie McClintock.
Did you wrestle DK
Yes.
Smith while you were there?
We put on the little, those little elastic,
Yeah.
mine looked like, what's his name? Very
The Big
nice.
Show?
What's the, no.
Borat?
Borat. I look like Borat in mine. It's just a thong that I pulled over my
Nice.
shoulders.
Yellow.
Bright yellow.
Right up the crack.
Fluorescent yellow. Yep. And I wrestled all them kids.
Did
Oh, that
you
doesn't sound good.
Roman Greco? Lube? No lube?
I neuro style. It's Japanese. You wouldn't know. So don't look it up. Anyway, it was cool, man. It was cool to get a sneak peek behind the scenes of a day in the life.
Filmmaking.
Yeah, a day in the life of filmmaking. I talked with Eddie a bunch. We spoke with Dean Cain, which, by the way, added to the collection. Little Dean Cain signed headshot here.
You didn't
So-
want to do the show?
We will be getting him on the show. Yes. Spoilers. Thanks, Mike. Way to
I just
spoil
wanted
it.
to know if I need to add him to my list or not.
Angry Elf wants to know, what's Mad Mike drinking there? Perhaps a nice hearty IPA?
No, it's a Okashim. It's a Polish beer.
Okashim. Hey, they're not sponsored. Don't be showing their logos on my show. They're not sponsors. If they want plugs, they can pay for them.
Very few people know. They're not paying us.
They're not paying shit. So yeah,
Oh,
so that
that's
was cool. We got to hang out with them for the day. It
I
was,
saw it on the Facebooks.
it was on the
Like
Facebooks. If you want to see pictures
Smitty
from
got
behind the
his little
scenes,
scene and stuff, so
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. If you want to see scenes from or pictures from the thing, you just jump over to any of our social media. The pictures are up there. It was cool because in one scene, King, there's a tight shot on Eddie and who's playing his son at in the thing, which is funny because he's playing his dad. So the him character is the kid that's on his show. Anyway, long story short, very Inception. But there's one scene where they're doing like a close up on him, and so like, and King is like right right next to him. And it's like a scene like everybody's leaving the building, so like King gets up in the shot and then they tight on Eddie or whatever. But it's cool. I will say, obviously it's a high school wrestling movie, so the final scene, which is one of the big ones we were filming, is the tournament, right? The big city, state, regionals, whatever. And that's what we're cheering for. And in the scene, I happen to be sitting behind the main character's girlfriend. And on my left shoulder is like the main character's best friend. And then over my right shoulder is Eddie McClintock playing his father. So like the camera had to keep pointing at me because I'm like, you're gonna see the girlfriend and then me like right over her shoulder, and then the best friend and like me right under him, and then dad and then me right next to him.
Great. So just
be...
you like
I
don't know what to do with my face. Like, why do we have that retarded guy in the middle?
I don't know what to do with my hands. This is normal, right? So yeah, it was cool. And at one point I did a costume change because we're rooting for the home team kind of thing, and then a bunch of people were doing like the away team, and so I did a quick costume change, and I'm on both sides of the bleachers. I'm rooting for them and against them. So in one side you'll see me rocking a WTF Nation radio shirt, and on the other side you'll be seeing me rocking the Pop Culture Warrior shirt. So
I'm sure they won't Photoshop that at all.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Why is he from Ohio?
He is. He's from North Canton. That's where he grew up.
They did it? Okay.
Yep, that's where he grew up, and that's the team he wrestled for. So the real school team is called the Vikings, and I believe the fictional team is called the Vikings. So yeah, that's the actual team. And man, they have no love lost for the local rival, the Jackson whatever team. Me and King were out looking for we wanted to support the team, so we wanted to get Viking shirt. And we went to a store. It was like 3 minutes from the school, and we're like, y'all got Viking stuff? We're like, ew, why would you want that? We only wear Jackson stuff around here. I was like, God damn. I can see the school from here. You can't be that far off rivals if they're like, damn, they take that shit serious. Like, it's high school wrestling. Calm down. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Lots to go over. So yeah, so that was cool. Last thing is Eddie will come back to promote the film. Dean Cain will come on to promote the film and obviously talk about all his works. A couple of others notables that I'll just go ahead, since we're talking about future guests, that I'm very excited. Don't have dates.
King Smith, is he going to talk about his role?
No.
Oh.
We couldn't get him. So looking at my notes here, some people. Oh, I teased a couple of weeks ago that I said that there was a 90s heartthrob that I grew up cherishing and loving and a huge crush on, and she's
Zach
agreed.
From Saved by the Bell.
Zach from Saved by. Well, come on, who didn't have a crush on Zach from Saved by the Bell? My God, the guy's beautiful. No,
got nothing going on. He's totally available.
No,
was it Gosler?
He's in a new,
Gosler.
Mark Paul Gosler, right?
Yeah, that's
he's
her.
in that show. He's in that show Taken. He's a prisoner in someone's basement. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that show that nobody's watching. Yeah, that's right.
Add to the list of people that won't show up to pop.
It's
Mark
a terrible concept for a show. It's like,
what? It's a guy who was a taker, and he gets taken by the person that captured the taker.
By an FBI agent that worked her ass off to get where she is. She's not just going to kidnap some dude and be like, help me.
It's the dude that kidnapped her daughter.
Whatever, dude.
So, whatever. Anyway, long story short, the person who's agreed to come on the show, and we're now looking at end of April, early May, we're just trying to get a date down, is Amy Jo Johnson, the original pink Power Ranger.
Nice.
Very excited. I had such a crush on her. Oh, my God. Oh, man. I had such a crush on her. But yeah, you want to hear something funny? And this is, we joke. We joke about how like, oh, who won't come on the show next? I've been talking with like her management team, whatever, and we're working on getting a date, whatever. And I said, oh yeah, let me know if you need like links to show the work or whatever. And they go, oh no, we've already watched a bunch of your episodes, and like we like what you do, we like this. And then they had a couple questions about certain things and behind the scenes stuff, but. So I was like, oh shit, they actually watched them.
Oh man, did Mike say anything bad about
us? I was like, listen, don't pay attention to the handicapped kid I keep on the side. He's like one of those Make-A-Wish kids that, he's not gonna be around much longer. So don't
Hey, I stand by everyone that I bash. For good reason.
But yes. Oh yeah, this is and then this is really cool too. There's a guy named Yuri Lowenthal who's a very famous voice actor. He's done a bunch for like Naruto and a bunch of stuff. One of our fans actually put him onto me, or put me onto him, and was like, "Hey, check out this guy, check out his work." And I looked through his thing. I was like, "Damn, this guy's done a lot of stuff." So I reached out, and they did say that his schedule's a bit crazy right now, but he wants to accommodate this opportunity. And again, it's all about networking. Somebody asked me last week, how do we get guests for the show? So here I'm talking to the PR team for Yuri, and we're working it out and this and that. And then they go, hey, like, are you interested in other people as well? And basically gave me a list of like other talent that they represent. And they're like, let us know if you're interested in any of these. Like, they asked me a bunch of questions like, you want big names, small names, filmmakers, actors, specific genres, whatever.
You're like, I'll take whoever you
I said,
got.
Yes. I said,
Do
who's working the phones for you guys? Because I'd like to talk to them too.
We will take we're the bottom of the barrel.
Yes, and Angry Elf, correct. Yuri is one of the voices of Peter Parker in the Spider-Man game. In the current Spider-Man game, he is Peter Parker, but he's voiced quite a bunch of.
We wouldn't know because frickin' PlayStation and Sony's a bunch of Nazis.
Add it to the list of.
We don't want anything from Sony. Fuck them.
But yeah, so I tried to get Tara Strong, man. She's hard to get. She is hard. Talk about anyway. Separate conversation for another day.
She's too good. She's too good for us.
She's too good
Did
for
you tell
us.
her we had Clark Gregg, Louis Anderson? We had real people.
She's probably done more work than Clark Gregg and Louis Anderson put together, honestly.
Yeah, but nobody will, unless you're like us.
She's one of the most
nobody else knows who she is.
Heath, that's right. I was supposed to reach out to Darren Marlar. I make a note of that. Make a note. Darren. Oop, stay still. Darren Marlar. Okay.
I forgot to get the Amazon driver was here, and I forgot to get his name.
Fuck you. Such an asshole. All right. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we've strutted our stuff with our special guests, and there's gonna be a lot more. I do literally have a list of people that are like, this person's filming right now. Come back to us in a couple months. They'll be in their, because basically actors and these guys, they do press cycles. So obviously, if you're someone who's not very busy, you're more apt to just take a spot. But a lot of these guys are hardworking and doing multiple things. So typically they'll have, 2-3 months stretch of work, and then they'll do like a month press cycle, which is kind of like their off time, but promotion cycle. And so you just gotta like hit them at the right time with it. So,
yeah.
There's a couple people that are on the list. And then you got people, sorry, I'm on a fucking kick today. Then you got people like Sam Witwer. God bless him. Good dude. Love his work. We connect. We're going back and forth. Hey, what dates are available? What's working? Okay, let me check my schedule. And then it's back and forth. And then all of a sudden, fucking crickets. And then a couple months will go by, and then they'll be like, hey, sorry, we lost track. I got sidetracked. And okay, what's your schedule like? And it repeats over and over. This has literally happened like 4 or 5 times already, where it's over. I've been in touch with him for 2 years at this point. So one day we'll have him on the show. I really like Sam.
Who is that?
Sam Witwer. He was in the Being Human. He was the vampire in Being Human. Star Killer. Remember those video games? He was the likeness of Star Wars Star Killer, the hidden apprentice of Darth Vader. What do they call that? Force. Shadow Force? Star Wars?
Force Awakens?
No. Something Force. I forget. Angry Elf. I know he's in the chat. He'll tell me. Something to do with the Force. Force Unwielded. Force something. I don't know. It's one of those 2 video games, super popular. He was. I mean, he's done a lot. He's done a lot. No, not Force Awakens. That's a movie. Force Unleashed. Force Unleashed.
There it is.
Force Unleashed. That's the one it was. He's the voice of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars. He was the voice of Darth Maul. He's done a bunch of shit. He's way into Star Wars. He's way into a couple things. He was supposed to have the first spinoff of Walking Dead. You got to go back to season 1. They filmed Walking Dead. He's in the first episode when Rick climbs into the tank and shoots that zombie. He's that zombie.
Okay.
And the whole reason they used him, because he was an established name at that time, is there was supposed to be a whole prequel to the prequel. So basically, what became Fear the Walking Dead, which was the prequel, there was supposed to be the fall of the Walking Dead's kind of thing, and it was his story as a soldier, and you see the city fall and the whole thing, and then like the final episode is he gets bit, he climbs into the tank, and he goes to shoot himself, but then he can't do it, and then you hear Rick outside.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, Force Unleashed. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, so he's another one. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk some things that have happened this week. So biggest thing right now in pop culture is Dune Part 2 opens in theaters this week, and the film, I can honestly tell you, is tracking for a epic opening weekend at the box office, which is really spurring this idea that like movies are back and they're gonna make money again. According to Deadline, the second part of the adaptation of the classic novel Dune is expected to have a $170 million opening weekend global box office, which breaks down to about 80 million estimated domestic, with another 85-90 overseas. Now the Dune Part 1 only had a 41 million domestic opening, but for those that remember at that time, they released on HBO Max same day. It really did impact the numbers it made in theaters when people were like, "Well, I just watch it at home." So did you see Dune Part 1? Are you a Dune fiend?
Yeah, I liked it.
You gonna see Part 2?
I'm not gonna pay to see it in the theater, but I will see it.
Enough said.
I ain't trying to pay $100.
Who told you to have all them kids?
I'll watch that shit when it comes out on HBO Max. But yeah.
In like 3 months.
Like it's gonna make a shit ton of money because it's the only freaking good movie coming out. Like you release garbage, nobody goes to see it.
Yeah. Speaking of garbage in theaters, let's check in because I just find this so fascinating. Let's check in on how Madam Web is doing.
Bob Marley's still leading according to the radio.
Yes. So here's what's crazy. You had Bob Marley and Madam Web come out on the same weekend. Only Bob Marley came out on the weekend. Madam Web did a whole 6-day. Madam Web,
they still lost.
Madam Web is finishing its second weekend at the box office after opening on Valentine's Day. it's still having a tough run. Not only does it have the lowest Rotten score of any Spider-Man movie made by Sony, it has also had the worst opening weekend of all the Marvel films. The
It's
movie,
not a Marvel film.
I'm saying all Marvel films,
It's a
going all the way
Sony
back to
film.
like Fox and Sony from the beginning. The movie even managed to make less in 6 days than Morbius did in its 3-day opening. So it
Jesus.
opened in double the time. It opened less than Morbius did. Now it's been in theaters for 12 days. It still hasn't made what Morbius made in its opening weekend. In
That's
12 days, it hasn't
Like,
made the amount of money Morbius made in 3 days.
I couldn't even watch Morbius. It was free, and I
It
can't
was
watch
bad. It was
The
bad.
trailer was just brutal for me.
So in its second week, Bob Marley still reigning first.
At
Madam
30
Web
million.
is fourth. What other movies are out right now that
It's
Madam
like-
Web fell to fourth?
It's like Argyle, Bob Marley, which Argyle's been out since like December.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
And it's like it's like all those it's like reshow. Let me look. I don't know. It's like
It's
those
like
re-release
Avatar. The first
bullshit.
Avatar just made more money this weekend than
Right?
than Madam Web. Oh man, this would have been a
That's
perfect
so
weekend to
sad.
re-release like Avengers Endgame. It would have made way more money.
Let's
But yeah.
see.
So it says here, Madam Web dropped to fourth place at the box office this weekend. Only made 35 million domestically, and a global total of 77 million over 12 days. 12 days. In its first weekend, Morbius made 83 million. So again, 3 days, Morbius, specifying Morbius,
Jesus Christ.
made 83 million.
Listen to this competition, right?
All right, here we go.
Demon Slayer,
Never heard of her.
which is it's like a anime movie.
Yeah.
It's Kimetsu no Yaiba to the
Oh,
Hashira
that's-
training.
That's the best
That's
one.
the whole title.
That's the best one.
That's the Bob Marley, One Love, Madam Web, Lisa Frankenstein,
Classic. I mean, who hasn't been waiting for that to come out?
Cole Sprouse is in it from Sweet Life on Deck. Disney.
Oh, yeah. Big deal. Big deal.
Argyle, which was fucking great. The Beekeeper, which is also, you could watch that shit like on Paramount Plus for free at this point. Jason Statham, still fucking making shit movies. Wonka, and
I actually
then
heard
another
Beekeeper's actually
showing of
pretty
the
good.
Demon Slayer. The Demon Slayer's got 2 fucking screens at my theater. And there's Wonka, which is also, I think, available for streaming right now. Like,
I want to say you can purchase it at home. I want to say.
all those you could stream at home except for Lisa Frankenstein. But yeah, so there's not much competition.
Well, these things happen.
And a couple people that I know that saw it said it was hot garbage, which is guaranteed. I mean, it's a shit character from a shit studio that makes shit movies. So you get what you get, and you don't get upset.
So anyway, that's where Madam Web is. There's your update on the Madam Web situation.
They should just pull it. Just pull it.
I don't know what I honestly don't know what Sony's gonna do. And okay, not in my
Try
topics to
get it
discuss.
to a streaming, sell it to a streaming service and hope that they.
They're not gonna sell it to a streaming service because they have the streaming service. Anyway, listen. So Madam Web is out, right? And Sony, I really felt like had a lot of hopes riding on this.
I don't know.
Craven has been done for a while. It's been finished for I think a year,
Jesus.
and they still holding it back. And I part of me wonders, are they trying to distance it from Madam Web to be like, let that stink go away, let the place air out, and then we'll release Craven?
It looks pretty stinky from what we saw.
I mean, I don't
might want to do some reshoots.
Yeah, they've already done the reshoots. That's the thing.
Slide some money to Kevin Feige, have him help you out.
So the other thing. So Craven's done. That's in the can, and it is what it is. They were done long before Madam Web, and so there's nothing they could really do, like you said, other than edit and reshoot. But we see what happens to Madam Web. It looked like it went through nice. Anyway, Venom 3 is still shooting, and I try to put myself in that. Put yourself in that mentality of like, you're involved in the Venom 3, which Venom 2 was already kind of like, people were like, dude, this is not good.
Terrible.
So you already had that under you. Then you see Madam Web come out, and it's just getting obliterated. Craven's in the can.
We're gonna turn the table.
Craven's in the starting block.
That bar, guys.
Craven's in the starting block. And it's not going to be good. You just know it's not going to be good. So if you're Venom 3, right, you're the director, you're the writer, you're the people involved. Like, what do you do? Like, do you
Sony's just that like blind leading the blind over there.
I don't know.
Like a bunch of false hope. They're just like oblivious to the outside world. Like, it's how Warner Brothers used to be, after Batman Returns.
I don't understand. I don't understand why it's the case. Anyway, regardless.
Before Christopher Nolan, it's Warner Brothers before Christopher Nolan, basically. They're
So
just wandering around with nipples on suits.
They're just throwing around, just putting nipples on suits
And everything.
I wonder, would that have made Morbius better? As if he had nipples on his jack? I don't know. Maybe.
Jared Leto never wears a shirt. Jesus Christ.
True.
Talk about somebody that
Very
will do
true.
anything for a buck. Jesus.
Very true. Moving on to something that I hope is good. So Thunderbolts, star of Thunderbolt, Florence Pugh, who we know I love. I adore. I love what she does. She's in Thunderbolts, obviously. She was promoting Dune 2. She was on the red carpet, and people were asking her, like, hey, what's up with Thunderbolts? What's happening? And she goes, we're shooting. Like, there was no big announcement, but she's like, yeah, we've already been shooting for a couple weeks. So, yay. That means any day now we should start seeing leaked photos of the cast and crew and all the things that are being set, because, nothing stays wrapped.
I saw a little thing that said they were shooting.
Yeah. Just exciting. I'm excited. That movie, I'm excited for. But shame on me. I was also excited for Ant-Man Quantumania, and you all saw how that worked out. Could have been so much better. So, jumping from Marvel to DC, last week, the cast of Superman Legacy, the first film out of the new James Gunn era of DC, had its first table read. And James Gunn took to social media to share an image of the assembled cast. Let me share that with you now. Boop. There it is. So this is the cast of James Gunn's first DC movie. Well, no, not his first DC movie, because that was technically school. Of his new leadership role in DC. You can obviously see that there is Nathan Fillion, who plays Guy Gardner. A bunch of other people you won't recognize, but dude, all the way at the top left, that's your Superman. To his left, that's Mr. Perfect. I think I don't know what these characters are playing. Obviously, Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner's. There's Lex, Nicholas Hoult right next to Superman. There's your Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. James Gunn in the center. I think that's one of the
Kevin Sorbo.
That's not Kevin Sorbo. I think that's the producer. The producer, Peter Safran. He's producer, and
tell me that does not look like Kevin Sorbo.
It does look a little bit like Kevin Sorbo. It's executive producer, and he's the DC co-chief along with James Gunn, Peter Safran. There are
who's the other guy that looks like Lex Luthor with cancer?
That's the dude that was in Gotham. He played Zsasz in Gotham. He's now playing Metamorpho in Superman. Missing from this was Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, who's playing Maxwell Lord. But the female next to James Gunn, she's playing Hawk Girl, and then the female all the way to the right, that's your Lois Lane, which I think the look works. I think
Yeah,
you
nailed
know,
it. That's the
yeah.
lady from
Fabulous
that
Mrs. Maisel,
show my
Marvelous
wife
Miss
watches.
Maisel.
Yep, that one.
Yeah. So we're
That's, I think a perfect casting.
Yeah.
Probably the best one.
And
out
then
of all
the
of
guy right
them.
above her is the Jimmy Olsen, which looks like a Jimmy Olsen.
Who's Nathan Fillion playing? Booster?
Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern. Yeah.
Should have him play Booster Gold.
Yeah. But I mean, I always worry when you have a Superman movie that has 80, side characters.
Right.
It just makes me nervous.
From past experience, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Just saying, DC.
It's
James Gunn seems to know what he's doing, so
Yes.
give him the benefit of the doubt.
He has done well putting together ensemble casts, right? We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, we've seen Suicide Squad. He has a knack for balancing characters and all that. But you could easily say in any of those movies, there's no main character, right? Whereas like Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, it's Peter Quill, it's Star-Lord, but it really is balanced across all the characters. When you have a Superman movie, it's not a team-up movie. And I'm just hoping he doesn't treat it as a team-up movie. Because Superman could kill all of these guys without even trying.
Get one shot, James Gunn. One shot, and I'm out. Just saying.
Yep. And Angry Elf says, speaking of Superman, did you hear the rumor mill that Henry Cavill has been linked to a Marvel role? They said the rumor has it, he has accepted a Marvel role. The big rumor was that it was Doctor Doom, but that's been squashed. They said he is not playing Doctor Doom.
No, he does not have the range to play Doctor Doom.
But the current rumor is that he's signed on to be Marvel's Cyclops, the X-Men himself, the leader of the X-Men, Cyclops. That's the rumor. That's the rumor going around, not confirmed, all speculative, but we'll see.
Bring back Marsden was the perfect fucking Cyclops.
I was never a big Marsden fan.
Fuck, I didn't like him either, but nobody likes fucking Cyclops. That's why it worked.
He's perfect. You just punch him in the face.
Yeah, and that's the same way. That's how Cyclops has always been. You're like, God damn, he's the guy you always wanted to just kick his ass. And Marsden, that's exactly how he is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Perfect. I was like, man, we could have worked out a little more, but whatever.
Oh man. Okay. Moving on. A couple more stories. The Last of Us star Pedro Pascal is praising the work that has already been done on the show's second season. So he was at the SAG Awards and somebody had asked him about like, hey, what's going on with The Last of Us with season 2? He said they've already started shooting. They've been in shooting, and he goes that like this is more incredible than anything we did in season 1. He said earlier,
2030.
Very funny. Earlier this month, production on season 2 of The Last of Us finally began and saw co-stars Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal once again returning to portray Ellie and Joel, respectively. HBO itself has already confirmed that The Last of Us will film throughout 2024 and won't return to TV again until some point in 2025.
Yeah.
So
for 4 episodes. You take a year of filming and you give us 4 episodes.
I mean,
I hate you, HBO. You ruined series.
Series
for everyone. You used to get 24 episodes, like at minimum 12 episodes in a series.
You're talking about
HBO comes out. It's like you get 10, and then they went 8, 6. It's like now we're gonna get 4. You wait 5 years, you get 4 episodes.
I'm gonna let him finish his rant.
I refuse to watch HBO shows.
If the trend continues, at some point we're gonna have to shoot shows and give them to. There's gonna be negative shows, negative episodes. We have to shoot it and then give it to them.
Basically.
So anyway,
in 10 years we'll give you half an hour.
Despite all this, Pascal himself is already floored by what he's been what's being accomplished on the set following his SAG Award win for Best Male Actor in a Drama Series. Pascal was asked about season 2 of The Last of Us and how production has gone so far. In response, he said nothing but positive stuff. He had nothing but positivity to share about the first couple of weeks of filming, and which that part has now wrapped. He went on specifically to call out his co-star Bella Ramsey and showrunner Greg Mazin as major leaders on season 2, and said that they've been guiding the project in a way that he previously hasn't seen before in his career, which is, I mean, it's high praise. That's high praise coming from someone who's, in
everything.
In everything. Yeah, I get that's the nice way to put it. He's in everything, but he basically said
also,
to that.
Like, what do you say if it's hot garbage? No. He's got.
I don't remember him saying shit about Wonder Woman. I'm just saying no one ever had a quote of him before Wonder Woman. Got paid. What he said, which makes sense about this, he goes, "This is a character that has had so much life before I ever stepped into it." He said nowhere in his career, like even the Mandalorian within the Star Wars universe, was a new character, was a completely original character. So he said this role, more than anything else, just had he had to become the character, not the character is becoming him kind of thing, But I mean, it makes sense.
He had to act for a change.
He had to actually act like not Pedro Pascal. What else?
But it sounds like is he dying in season 2?
Well,
because it's a PlayStation game. Because he's like the girl is doing fantastic, and the showrunner. So it's like, does that mean he's not gonna be on it much longer?
Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played The Last of Us Part 2.
For Xbox users like myself,
he does die. He does die in the game. He makes it a decent way through, but he does end up dying. But they've also got on record saying that although season 1 ended where part 1 ended, that season 2 is big enough that they could probably shoot 2 seasons of game 2, meaning the finale of part 1 of season 2 might be the point at which he dies, probably, and then you would start season 3 with just her or something. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
It all depends on how many deals he gets.
Yeah, get that paycheck. Let's see. Reacher, great show. Really like what Alan Richardson's doing in Reacher. Show. Great show. They're filming season 3 right now. In an interview with Alan Richardson, he was recently recalling how he was nearly cast as Thor for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He had auditioned. He even claimed that he was told essentially the part was his, which he says he was young and dumb at the time, and so he didn't even try hard. He goes, I went in, look at me, I'm Thor, and he didn't get it. And obviously instead it went to Chris Hemsworth. And he says largely based on the fact that he just didn't try hard. He ended up obviously going on to play Hawk in the DC series Titans. And then he also revealed that he had tried to get Nightwing. He was actually auditioning for Nightwing, but they felt he was too old to play the role of the character they were kind of looking for, And
he's too big.
Yeah, so he got Hawk instead. And this is exact quote from him. I didn't take it seriously. I was like, they'll throw me the part if I look like the guy. Nobody's going to really care about the acting, which again, this is, they were probably casting that right around the time of Iron Man 1. So this is back when comic book roles weren't taken serious.
Yeah.
So he's like, look, if you look like the guy, you get the part. You don't have to act. And obviously he didn't realize the trajectory the Marvel Universe was heading. He also noted that after the audition, the casting cabal, the people that, all involved, they told his team that like the role had been his to lose, but this is a quote, he hadn't shown that he had the craft. He didn't show that he had the acting chops. So obviously he didn't get the role.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's accurate.
Yeah, he's kind of
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
he is who he is.
It wouldn't be.
He's got the
He's
range of
not
a
there
Schwarzenegger.
yet.
Yeah,
he would have been terrible, honestly.
yeah.
Hemsworth crushed like.
Yeah.
So Thor in the comic books is all old English. Like it's fucking a terrible comic to
very
read.
serious.
Yeah, it's just a shit comic book to read. They made the character like likable, which Marvel had Thor for what 50 years, and they crushed it in 10. Like Hemsworth just that's the best Thor you'll ever get.
You know when a character really resonates on screen when the character in the comic book starts to change,
emulate
to match the character.
Yeah.
Iron Man's always been a drinking, boozing, sexaholic kind of guy, but all of a sudden he became more like quippy and stuff when Robert Downey took the role. And Captain America's always been Captain America, but he changed when the other Chris took the role, Chris Evans. And Thor, more than anyone, has definitely changed in the comics since, Nick Fury probably changed the most when Sam Jackson took the role because he became black.
Well, they changed that right away. Well, they changed, that was Ultimate X-Men.
Yeah.
Our Ultimates.
Well, yeah, it was first Ultimates, the Ultimates, and then the movie, and then but then regular time. It's a whole thing.
Is a lot better than the other Nick Fury fucking Hasselhoff.
The Hoff. Billy Bunting wants to know, what do you all think about season 2 of Halo? Have you seen it yet, Mike?
No.
I have not seen it yet. I'm entrenched in another series at this moment, but I'm gonna catch up on season 2 of Halo here soon.
I've been watching that Poker Face, which is a freaking great show.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
It's like the female version of me.
Yes, it really is. You are a male version of that actress. That's just her personality. Anyway, the last word on Richardson is just, I had forgot that his debut performance was Aquaman on Smallville. Like, he was Smallville's Aquaman.
That's so sad.
Well before Entourage's Aquaman, well before modern day.
He was in he was in something else too. Like his first role was like, I want to say like a Van Wilder spinoff or something. I don't know. He's some frat boy or something in something. But Reacher is definitely his peak.
I mean, yeah, it's about as
the
peak
perfect
as you
role
get
for him.
So going back, let's take a look at Alan Richardson. Since he ain't coming on the show, he appeared uncredited in an episode of Frasier. Didn't know that. Back in 1999. Did a voice in 2006 for Wonder Pets.
Terrible movie.
Yeah, so his first accredited role was Arthur Curry, Aquaman in Smallville, 2005. And then he did the Wonder Pets voice, and then he did Though None Go With Me, where he played an army officer. He's really got a type. He was in The Butcher, he was in Steam. Remember that movie Beowulf? Remember that one? Okay, I take it a step further. He was in Beowulf the game. He was the character model for Beowulf.
Jesus.
True story. He actually voiced Aquaman in Justice League: The New Frontier. He was in a couple, an episode of CSI Miami, an episode of Head Case, an episode of 90210. 39 episodes of Blue Mountain State. That's what you were talking about. Blue Mountain State is
Blue Mountain State.
the high
I
school
never heard of
football show.
Somebody was like, "Yeah, he's a jock in the show." I'm like,
Yep.
what the heck is that?
An episode of Hawaii Five-0. He was in Hunger Games Catching Fire. He had a role, Gloss.
He's like, he had to be like the first tier or whatever.
That, I forgot this. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action CGI one, he was Raphael. He was the mocap and person that did Raphael in what's her name? Megan Fox, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Look at that. He did an episode of New Girl, an episode of the Workaholics. Man, this guy's bounced around. He did Raphael for the sequel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadow. He did that one. Episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, episode of Supergirl. He was Hawk and Super. Oh yeah, because they did the crossover.
Yeah, they did the crossover.
The Legends crossover. That's right. He had an uncredited appearance in Legends of Tomorrow as a hooded vigilante. Interesting. And then he became Hank Hall in Titans. He's in Fast X. That's right.
See him at everyone's in that fucking
That's
movie.
right. Man, I forgot how much stuff this guy's done. He was in Fast X. Son of a bitch. He was the not the CIA. He was like the replacement of Mr. Nobody or whatever. Anyway.
Nobody cares.
Got me on this fucking whole track about Alan Richardson. What a career. What a career.
But that Reacher show is freaking great. I didn't watch it for the longest time, and I was like, damn, this show's good.
Yeah. People kept raving about it. Yeah, I didn't see season 1 until season 2 came out.
Well, when I heard, like, I only watched it because Tom Cruise was bitching about it. So I only watched it to spite Tom Cruise.
To spite Tom Cruise.
Because I'm like, fuck Tom Cruise.
Fuck Tom Cruise.
Shit. Little bitch. Well, the character was supposed to be like, he is how the character was written. He's a big, tall dude or whatever. And then someone at Warner Brothers is like, let's get the short guy to do it.
Why not?
What else we got?
Let's see. Man, you guys are on it, man. I can't keep up with all the chats. You guys are awesome. Appreciate y'all. Let's see. Moving on. Oh, let's get into the top of the hour. Let's hey Pete, what's up, buddy? Hey Bill. Let's go ahead, take a short break. When we come back, which will be a short break because I don't have to prepare for anything. But when we come back, I'm going to toss it over to the interview of our guy, John Orloff, which, again, it already happened. I can tell you, phenomenal conversation, very good interview, very enlightening. And by sheer chance, the last 3 times, including this one, where I pre-recorded an interview, usually like PR people will sit in on it just to, hear what we talk about, whatever. All 3 times.
Got Spielberg's coming on now?
No. All 3 times. This is true story. True story. All 3 times we finished the interview. They had a great time. They say, hey, thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. They go. I get an email from the PR team going, hey, great job. We loved it. It was awesome. One thing, though. The part where they said XYZ, can that be edited out? In one instance, they accidentally announced something that hadn't been announced yet. And in this instance, actually,
you pull out the details.
This instance,
you sly bitch, you.
Yeah. In this instance, he well, I don't even say accidentally because he expanded upon it. He did not accidentally. I just don't think he realized that it hadn't been announced yet. So he very candidly went on for about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm just like,
some shit in the show, like Elvis comes back. Fuck. Call you Kira
No.
Cedric. the
Something
closer.
completely separate from Masters of the Air. But anyway, well, I can tell you privately. Well, I'll tell you. But yeah. So see if you can find. It's only I think it's a 20-minute interview. It's a short
Did
interview.
you
But
edit it out, or you're
there's-
like, you know what? If you, who else you give me?
No.
No one. Okay.
no, because that's how you build. That's how you build trust in journalism, and that's how you get people to.
So
hook
no, you
up.
didn't edit it out.
I did edit it out. I did.
You said that you edited it out. You said no.
I said no. You said, "Oh, you gonna?" I said no. I did edit it out. I just, I'm just saying. I tried to make it so seamless you can't even tell. But like, if you're really razor sharp, you'll tell right where I edited it. That's hard to say.
You said how we run this show. I'm pretty sure we'll tell. Like mid-word or something.
There's a big 5-minute gap of blank. It's like just
Did you
nothing.
show me a cock and balls.
All right, guys, we're gonna take a short break, literally like 2 minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll play the interview for you guys. So hang tight. We'll be right back. And Mike, you're hanging on. You ain't going nowhere. Fuck you. You ain't going nowhere. All right,
Unless the feed dies out.
we'll be right back.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show is going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
After all I've done, do you love me now? Do you love me now? After all I've said, running through your head, do you love me now? Do you love me now? And if I told you everything, I bet you cry and run away.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. As I said before, I have a pre recorded interview with the incredible John Orloff coming up. So I just wanted to intro that for you. See how many differences you can spot in the background. I also have all the lights on. I probably shouldn't have all the lights on, but that's fine. All right, guys, please enjoy my interview with Masters of the Air executive producer and writer John Orloff. Hey everybody, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. I'm your host, CQ, and joining me today is the brilliant mind behind some of the most compelling narratives seen on screen. He's a master storyteller who has captivated audiences with his work on the critically acclaimed miniseries Band of Brothers and the enigmatic historical drama Anonymous. His passion for history and knack for bringing intricate tales to life have set him miles apart in the entertainment industry. And now he's taking us back to the skies of World War II with the breathtaking new Apple TV series, Masters of the Air. Please welcome to the show the creator, writer, co-executive producer of the series, the remarkable John Orloff, everybody. Yay!
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk with you. First and foremost, I'm always curious to our guests. We're military themed pop culture, so obviously you have such a passion for this military writing. What's your military connection? Was there family, friends, anything like that?
No. My dad served in the Korean conflict as a disc jockey in Tokyo. And other than that, no. It was growing up in the 70s, watching a lot of television that reran World War II movies, and Hogan's Heroes and McHale's Navy and all the Guns of Navarone. And so I sort of grew up with just World War II entertainment, and then would read books and became obsessed. So that's where my interest comes, really, as a fan and an armchair historian.
Outstanding. Nothing wrong with that. So obviously, as a follow-up to Band of Brothers, I mean, Masters of the Air has been a massive hit. How does it feel to have created Apple TV's most watched series launch ever?
Well, I didn't create it. Let me. It was Tom and Steven, and I just wrote it. Tom, it feels amazing. I'm still kind of pinching myself. Band of Brothers wasn't a hit when we made it because it came out 2 days before 9/11. So the first two episodes aired the Sunday night before the Tuesday that the Twin Towers fell. And after the towers fell, nobody wanted to watch Band of Brothers. You didn't want to watch people losing their legs. So we went off a little bit. It wasn't a hit. So this is sort of my first hit, and it's kind of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really just glad people are watching it. That's why we made it, for people to watch it.
Of course. And I mean, say what you will about Band of Brothers, but obviously it didn't connect right away given the circumstances, but it did go on to become, I think, one of the best-selling DVD TV series of all time. So
that was its sort of saving grace was, because people hadn't watched it really on HBO the first time it aired. When it came out on DVD, everybody bought it on DVD, so it was a huge DVD fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did your passion for World War II history influence the approach to writing this series? And I'm curious, why specifically the stories of the 100th Bomb Group?
Well, there we come back to the created by. That's Tom and Steven. One of the things that they are so great at is choosing the right story to tell. And if you choose the right story, then you don't have to make up a lot of shit. Yeah, you have to make up a little bit of stuff, or you have to combine things, or, but as little as possible, and so they had read Masters of the Air before I did, and they sent it to me with the idea, hey, we really think there might be a show here based on Buck, Bucky, and Rosie, not Crosby. That was one of my ideas. But yeah, so they came to me, and once you read their story, it is kind of a no-brainer. You almost can't believe what you're reading actually happened. In fact, I think it's kind of funny with the show. I've read online some of the reactions, and people just don't understand it's true. They really just can't believe it. They can't, for example, they don't believe that planes fly that fast when they're in closing speeds. They don't believe that there was only one plane left. They don't believe that Buck and Bucky were really that Hollywood. They think we're being Hollywood. No. These are the original hotshot pilots that walked and talked like that. That's Maverick, Top Gun. That all comes from these guys.
Right.
These are the first who walked around like that. And you'll notice the replacement pilots as the show goes on aren't like that. Rosie is not like that. He's a different dude coming from a different generation, So yeah, they picked the right story, and then I just had to figure out, or they picked the right guys. Then I had to figure out how to make it into a 9-hour story.
That's incredible. The thing I hear a lot too is like, oh, there's no way, they could take that much damage and still, fly and land. I'm like, man, they could, if it's got wings.
You have no idea what this plane could take. Way more than the B-24, supposedly. The B-24 could get shot down a lot easier. For whatever reasons, the the B-17 was just a fucking beast. And I mean, I had arguments, some pretty serious arguments with some of our technical advisors who didn't believe that a plane would do what it historically did. Right. And I would have to literally get my homework and say, no, it really happened. Look, this is exactly what happened. Yeah. And it is kind of unbelievable.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories coming out of that era too was when they were mapping out, as planes would come back and they would map out, where the hits were taken. And they're like, okay, these are the places we have to reinforce. And you're like, you're not looking at the problem. If they came back with those holes, they're fine. Reinforce everything else.
But they were desperate. They were desperate to try to figure out what was going wrong. Yeah. Because it was going wrong for a long time. These losses were just astronomical. The first, now that episode 5 is done, you have to understand 34 out of the 36 original planes that arrived in June of 43, 3 months later, they're gone. 34 out of 36 gone, so the brass was desperately trying to figure out how do we get the odds slightly better, and they would do anything. That's why there's those interrogation after reports. They went through everything with fine toothpicks, and that then serviced me because all of that was written down. So I have all the after mission reports from the missions. So, in episode whatever, when we show or when Rosie's plane gets hit by a rocket in episode 5 on its starboard wing, that's because that's what really happened. Same. I think maybe one of the things in episode 3 we used a rocket instead of cannon fire, but all of Cleven's hits on his ship really happened, and where they happened. And we know that because we have the after mission reports. So we all used it. The special effects guys, the directors, the actors, we all used the truth.
That's incredible. What were like the most challenging aspects of bringing this whole thing to life?
Everything. I don't think people yet understand the scale of the show. It's about to get a lot bigger, and it's already been pretty big. And so everything was really challenging, because the scale of the air war, we set out from the beginning of saying, this is about scale. The air war is about scale. One of the unpointed out things you'll see in the show is every mission, there's more planes in the air, every single one. First mission, there's only 20 planes in the air. Second mission you see, there's maybe 70 planes in the air. Third mission, there's a couple hundred that get into the air. By the end of the show, there's going to be 1,000 fighters. 1,000 bombers and 500 P-51s. So the show has always been about scale, and doing anything on such a scale is really hard as for filmmaking. It's just everything is hard. Every single episode has 400 special effects shots. 400. So to put that in perspective, like Star Trek, like the original Star Trek, not the original, but like the Star Trek, the Next Generation, they would do 60 effect shots in an episode. Now obviously by the time of Game of Thrones, you're getting to hundreds as well. But the other thing that's really kind of interesting about this is these have to look real. It's like one thing to do Game of Thrones and nobody's going to argue about how many fucking talons a dragon has, right? Nobody's going to second guess you and go, oh, you know what? That dragon, that is not what a dragon from fucking Kandahar looks like in 1942, So, while I'm sure we don't get 100% everything right, but that's because it's the 8th Air Force was changing everything all the time.
Right.
One of the little funny things is like the not helmets, the headgear that they would wear. It changed constantly, right? And so did the oxygen, the way that they got oxygen. We do some of those changes, it's a different, you'll see it's a different oxygen adapter in one episode than it was in the other one, but who's going to notice that, But we kind of did it. Same thing will be with costumes, as the uniform changed, you'll see the uniform change,
No, that's
so
incredible.
it's just massive. We didn't have to do anything like that on Band. Yeah, their uniforms did change, but not the technical stuff, not the effects stuff,
How I'm curious because you have a very insider look, behind the scenes look. How do you think the portrayal of war in television and movies has changed since something like Band of Brothers?
Wow. I don't know how to answer that. The effects get better, but war is war, and what a young man goes through when they go off to battle, is not every experience is the same, obviously, at all, quite the opposite. But every experience has some signposts that are the same. Often you go in excited and so that story that war is not what you think it's going to be is kind of a consistent one in war stories, right? But obviously the technology changes. 1917 with the single, quote unquote single shot is really, really cool, and it's a different way of making a film about war. Equally, Dunkirk, not the most realistic of films in the reality sense, but in the emotional sense, really true. Like that's what it feels like to be in war. It might not be literally what it looked like on that day, so it's all of us trying to kind of find that ineffable moment, right, of what combat is like. And I think, and the technology changes, but the stories don't.
Right.
I guess is what I'm sort of saying.
No, absolutely. And speaking of somebody who's served in 2 theaters of war, like I get it. There's a fine line when you balance historical accuracy with dramatic storytelling. I know if I'm telling a story about a mission I went on, sometimes you got to add a little dramatic effect, Oh,
you don't think the Easy Company boys did that? Seriously.
Exactly.
Like I spent a lot of time with those guys. I heard the stories a lot of different times, and
a lot of different ways.
Would change. Sometimes they would change a little bit,
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd know that the story they're telling is total bullshit, because that happened a couple times too.
Memory's a funny thing that way, the farther you get
and they
removed from
believed it. Well, and then what happened with Easy Company was they started to, not so much Winters, but they started to just remember the story, not the reality. Like they had told the story of such and such happening so many times, they could only tell it that way. Right? If you started to ask them a little, well, what about when this happened? What did you feel in between these two things? They won't have an answer.
Yeah, I'm guilty. You know,
Yeah, and that's okay. That's not a judgment at all, right? You know,
I have some stories too about like things that went wrong, and
right.
You know, you tell it
and
so
you don't
many
necessarily
times.
want to tell those stories over and over.
You know, and you tell it so many times, almost become disconnected from it. It's like retelling a movie you saw, right?
Exactly.
You're gonna hit
that's
the high
totally
notes.
What it is. And I did episode 2 of Band, which is Braycore Manor, and basically it was like Rashomon, which is, you know, here I interviewed everybody who was alive, which would have been Malarkey, Lipton, Compton, obviously Winters, I don't know, whoever else. And they all had different versions. You know, that it was not one narrative that was exactly one perfect narrative. Everybody had little different memories, a little bit of that. And it was a puzzle for me to go, oh, okay, well, Lipton said this happened at the same time that happened, but that's not possible because Winters was doing, you know, and I had to put it all together, you know?
Yeah. And often one person's interpretation of the same event, just someone who's, you know, 20 yards that way, their interpretation of what's happening completely different, you know?
And both are correct, right?
And both are correct.
Mean,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so good. You got it. You know, you get it.
Yeah, well, you know, I am a little bit of an expert in a very small, narrow field,
Sure.
World War II combat.
Sure.
I've talked to a lot of guys, you know?
Yeah, and that's all it's about. Can you hint maybe at any Easter eggs? I know, you know, writers, and they like to hide little things here and there. Anything that you snuck in there?
Not really. Well, a little, you know, so there's in episode 5, they see an Abbott and Costello movie. I'm related to Bud Abbott in a very weird, convoluted Hollywood LA way.
Okay.
So that was sort of my nod to my Abbott family.
There you go.
But nothing to Band really. You know, this was such its own thing, and there wasn't a lot of room for personal stuff. This was about, you know, these 4 guys, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of times.
Clevin.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying a lot of times people say, oh, you know, maybe there'll be a reference to one of the characters and a long lost letter, you know, people like that.
We're not into universe, you know, it's a real universe.
Yes.
It's not like the MCU universe, you know.
Exactly.
We take that really seriously, you know, in these shows, at least, you know, you know, these 3 series are something different than a TV show. They just are.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, with a series like this, and a lot of series, there's not necessarily like, here's the point, here's specifically, you know, good guy, bad guy, but there's some type of general, what we hope the viewers take away, a feeling, a sense. What is it from your perspective? What are you hoping translates and that the everyday person takes away from the series?
Well, I think first, how really fucking horrible it was up there. I don't think, quite frankly, the technology existed for a film to be made that accurately portrayed the combat that daylight bombers went through. I love 12 O'Clock High. I love Memphis Belle, but neither one really shows an accurate representation of aerial combat. So that was the first thing, because it's really never been seen, and I know people are having very strong reactions to that fact. Like, they can't believe how awful it was, you know, and how hard the losses were. But that's obviously like a visceral thing, you know. I think for me, as working on the film progressed, you know, these are always about honoring the real men and remembering what they went through. But I think in particular, this shows a different thing about industrialization and the necessity for gross industrialization to get the job done, and our whole society was involved in it. And I think it's a reminder, when I look at what's happening in Europe right now, and I see authoritarianism on the march, I think it's a reminder. I never love the phrase freedom is not free. It's a little trite, particularly if you know anybody who served. I think it's a little like, but you know what? It's also true at the same time. We this life we're leading is because an awful lot of people, mostly men, but now men and women, have really sacrificed a ton, including their lives. And in particular, in this air war, 84% casualty rate for our first group that went over there. I just think we have to remember that authoritarianism is bad, and it's pretty good to nip it in the bud before you have to do more.
Yeah.
And so I'm one of those people that looks at Eastern Europe and very concerned about what's going on there, and in other countries where authoritarianism and fascism is on the rise.
Well, I appreciate that. That's great. I know we're running short on time, so last one for you. Let's end with something a little bit fun, a little funny.
Sure. A little less dark.
A little lighter note. If you were a fighter pilot at this time, what's your call sign?
A fighter pilot. Oh God. Wow. Oh, I would never be a fighter pilot. I do not have balls big enough for that sort of. So I would have definitely been a bomber pilot, which they don't really have call signs, or probably a navigator. I think I relate with Crosby a little more than the other guys. What would my call sign be?
Or maybe a nickname. What's the nickname that the guys call you?
I don't know. No, Dr. Orloff. People, because of my weird last name, Dr. Orloff. I'm called a lot, but I don't know. What would your call name be?
I was always CQ. I was always CQ in the military. So I'm sure it stuck with me, and it's still today. So 20 plus years.
Maybe bifocals. I don't know. Old man. I don't know. I have to think about that.
You gotta think about that. So what's next for you? Are we hoping for a season 2? Are there more projects?
I doubt. I think we're all taking. Well, actually, I should say I'm taking a little bit of a break. But I think we're all. This was really a very difficult project to make, and I think we're all just kind of taking a breath. It was just so. We made it also during COVID. It was a really intense shoot, and I think we're all just kind of, okay, let's just take a breath here, see what happens. But there can't be a second season anyway, because different. They go home, where the ones that survive.
New story to tell. Yeah.
New story to tell. There's always a new story to tell.
Anthology series, a new cast every season.
We'll see. We'll see.
Want more.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible. You have no idea. But hopefully, it wouldn't take 10 years to make.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I have that in me.
I was say we're being greedy. We want more. It's so good. Yeah. We want more. So all right, everybody, that will do it. I want to thank my incredible guest, Mr. John Orloff. Make sure you guys tune in to Masters of the Air, available only on Apple TV, which, as of this recording, the first 6 episodes are out. They're amazing in every conceivable way. The final 3 episodes, I believe, are coming out in the coming Fridays. So John, I'll give you the last few seconds here. We have majority of a military audience. Is there anything you want to say to the audience before we let you go?
Just remember, most of it really happened. We really try to not make shit up. We really do. Yeah, you'll catch us making up some things, but trust me, it's not about that. It's really about celebrating, the greatest in America,
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
All right. Thank
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Let's, if he's ready for it, let's bring back our guy, the man with the chin, ladies and gentlemen, Mad Mike. Yay! Hey, we're still live.
Pants on. Put my pants on.
And we're still live. For now. Give it another,
We got
10,
18
15 minutes. Let's see if this bad boy doesn't shut us down. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Hey, man, what an interview, right? I mean, John Orloff, legend, man, fucking legend. I was getting, I got a comment from one of our followers. Great fucking questions. Love it. Absolutely love it. Checking in on the chats here. CQ, you've got 30-ish minutes. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah,
grow a damn mustache.
Ooh.
Oh man.
He's not full gay. You can only have a mustache if you're full gay.
Let's see. You're sweating, Mad Mike. You watching Cops?
I'm not sweating at all.
You're glistening a bit. You know, you've got a glisten to you.
No, that's just my skin. Dude, it's fucking 65 degrees and I'm in Florida.
That's the Florida weather.
Sweating weather, yeah. I'm not sweating by any means. It's this bright ass light Florida that you fucking make me put on.
Oh man. Let's see. Angry Elf says, "Wait, that's it?" Yeah, unfortunately, John Orloff, great dude, had a very small window. So again, just to touch on how we get guests, most of our guests, when we coordinate, we get an hour or whatever. Sometimes, and this has happened for those that have been around long enough, you've seen this happen a couple times. Some of the bigger guests or some guests who are promoting a certain thing only they'll do a press day and you'll get, usually it's like 5-10 minutes. I pushed and got 20. Really, it was like 22 minutes. I went over by 2 minutes.
We didn't get to take a shit because we had to do our interview.
So that's the thing. Like literally our recording was late 5 minutes because he was coming off of another recording. So it's literally back to back to back to back. And they'll do this for like 4 or 5 hours straight. Because they're trying to promote and share as much information as they can and get the word out and all these things. So that's why we only had.
We don't pay them.
And we don't pay them, so they can leave whenever the hell they damn well want.
They usually get paid.
They can just be like, bye. Let's see.
You're welcome to be in our presence.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Enough.
Good enough. All right, couple more news stories for the night. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Where is my notes? There they are. And we left off on we talked about, for those that are just catching up, we talked about Dune Part 2, we talked about Madam Web, we talked about Thunderbolts, we talked about Superman Legacy, we talked about The Last of Us, we talked about Reacher / Marvel. Yes. Here's hey, thanks Heath. Shogun came out on Hulu today. That looks good. Not gonna lie.
Ratings. It was like a 10 or something.
Yeah, that looked real. The funny thing is, when I first saw the trailer, I didn't go like, "Oh man, that looks good." My first thought, legitimately, was, "Wow, that looks expensive." And that's high praise. That's high praise. It's like they put a lot of money.
It's like
into that.
When it's like good on Netflix, it's like, the picture on Wish was accurate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, damn, they delivered for once.
They
Fuck,
actually
I'm surprised.
they actually did a thing. They actually did a
Holy
thing.
shit.
Yeah. It's like that's how sad is that we have to praise people for putting out good content or like putting out what they said they were gonna put out. You
Fuck,
know what I mean?
don't put out good content.
It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, critique good content.
Hey, I'm just gonna ignore you
We're
and move
still
on.
here.
So another story. So this was interesting. The relationship between Disney and Sony has been interesting, right? Especially when it came to like Spider-Man. Sony owned the property, but they leased him out to Marvel, so to speak.
Can you make it better so we can make a bunch of shit after? Yeah.
I mean, kind of. It's a first of its kind, right? That's like saying
Disney
fucking
used them to get what they wanted, and I'll give you a little. Sometimes you get a little rubby.
To finish my thought, it was, it would be as if, Kevin Smith's making the next Jay and Silent Bob and then fucking James Bond is in it. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen. You don't license your breakout, standout, tentpole characters to other companies. So it was very unique in that sense.
The rules of the road, if you want to quote Kevin Smith.
Cash, grass, or ass. So here's the thing Billy asked about Fantastic Four. We talked at length last week.
Last episode.
Last week we talked about it at length. I have other thoughts, but let me get to this stuff first. So what's interesting to me is that obviously Disney and Sony have this relationship. Well, they've taken it a step. Well, Spider-Man's still in the MCU, so it still has. They've taken it a step further. Listen to this. Sony will be taking over production of Disney DVD and Blu-ray media beginning this year. So, according to this report, Sony will do everything from the actual authoring of the discs, meaning like the actual like spinning and printing of it, to the actual physical distribution of the media. The article says that since the home entertainment division was essentially functioning as part of the digital streaming side of Disney, it involved numerous decision makers involved with each release, with the actual people involved with distribution of physical media often not included in the conversation. So for those that don't know, they have the Disney Club, right? That's their release of movies, the media, physical media. So the club had shut down in Canada earlier this year, and Disney had stopped releasing Blu-rays entirely in some parts of the world in 2023. So the Disney Movie Club, which was founded in 2001 to sell VHS and DVD movies direct to consumers, will soon close down permanently. The service, which offers attractive teasers like 5 movies for $1 in order to convince people to join, to get the subscription service, access exclusive discs, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, and then you pay $50 for one DVD. Yeah.
Well, it will end its run as part of Sony's just announced takeover of Disney's physical media production. Fans will have 3 months, which is until May 20 of this year, to make their final purchases before the club closes down for good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Disney's just like, take our garbage. Who the fuck buys DVDs and Blu-rays? I didn't know that was still a thing anymore. Who the fuck? Okay. Get the fuck out of the trailer park and go in the goddamn 22nd century. Jesus Christ. If you're buying who the fuck buys a DVD? Are you buying a VHS and a DVD? Like, what the fuck? Why is DVD still a thing?
I still do Blu-ray, or was it not Blu-ray? 8-tracks.
Fuck, even Blu-ray. It's like everyone's on 4K now. Jesus Christ, Grandma.
We know Nemo. Nemo has probably one of the largest collections of a person I know personally, right? I've heard stories of like, I own 500 million DVDs, whatever. But a person that I actually know, he probably has the most. I think it's somewhere in the realm of like 3,000 DVDs.
Yeah,
And
I
slash
helped him
Blu-rays.
move that shit. That shit's, he literally does. It's fucking heavy.
So I was just talking to him about this literally on Sunday, and I said,
I have a bigger collection because I fucking subscribe to every service available. So I have access to 17 million fucking movies.
That's fair. That is a fair point. But I asked him, I said, like, do you still buy DVDs? He's like, nah, man, I can't even tell you the last time I bought a DVD. And I'm like, then why do you, he told me, he goes, I don't even own a DVD player. I'm like, why do you have 3,000 DVDs?